Hello everybody and welcome back to another video for the day. We are heading back into r/AmITheDevil, and if you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them notifications. Also, if you guys would like to save 10% with the next order of gamer subs, use code Tommy at checkout or click the link down below. It applies the discount automatically to your transaction and it helps support the channel. I, 29M, accidentally got aggressive with my girlfriend, 29F, and made the worst impression to all of their friends. How do I fix that? One of the worst possible scenarios that I've been afraid of happened. I don't know what got into me, and I regret it incredibly. It's going to be a long story, but I think it's necessary for context. We've been together for a few months, and it's been amazing. In fact, I had never met a woman who likes me so much ever before, and it seems mutual. For the New Year's Eve, she invited me to a party with all of her friends. Quite a lot of people. Usually, she claims to be introverted, and I extroverted. I get along with people quite well, so I said sure. We get to the place, and I felt so out of place and awkward the whole night. I couldn't vibe with anyone there. So, also the kind of party where people just dance and drink until they pass out, and that's not really my thing. So, I was greeting everyone left and right. And I got so overwhelmed that I started being mean. Unfortunately, that's my defense mechanism under stress with strangers, and I made some sarcastic and mean jokes with her friends. I apologize immediately every time to them, even admitted to being overwhelmed with the sheer amount of people that I don't know and the atmosphere so far out of my comfort zone. I talked overtly loud, and on the moment I didn't realize it, but I was all acting so strange and weird and being genuinely a creep. I was insanely out of place. Not even the guy in the corner kind of strange, but I tended to overcompensate with being loud, controlling, and mean. Eventually, I got a bit more relaxed and we went to dance. For a few minutes, I was actually enjoying myself, dancing with my girlfriend, and she told me to chill because I'm moving like I want to beat someone up and act agitating, which was probably true. And that's the moment when I sort of snapped. We were holding hands, and I don't know what got into me, but I squeezed her hands way too tight to the point where I hurt her. But more so than physically, I hurt her emotionally. We went outside and I apologized and talked it out, and in the meantime, I made a couple of more sarcastic/mean remarks. By the end of the night, I couldn't take it anymore, and I left soon after the clock hit 2400, which translates to midnight. We talked some more and made up, but the next day she did tell me that I scared her in that moment, to which I promised it would never happen again. I cried the whole night when I got home, and I'm not the type to cry easily. The fact that I don't know if I ever cried so much in my entire life, not even when I was a kid. Partly because I screwed up bad with her friends, but mostly because I did something I never thought I'm capable of, hurting her like that. So now all of her friends probably despise me. Even worse if they actually saw me doing that to her. She lost part of her trust in me, and I can't go through the day without getting the flashbacks from last night and feeling like crying whenever it happens. Any advice is welcome, really. How do I fix this screw up? Obviously to me right now, it feels like the relationship is doomed, which it may or may not be. TLDR, I was mean and weird to all of my girlfriend's friends because of the social pressure. Then I squeezed her hand too hard in a sort of anger because she told me I'm dancing like I'm about to get into a fight, which was probably true. How do I repair the situation? Well, I can tell you this right now, one thing you might want to do is change your coping mechanism from being a dong to people. You know, maybe that might be good. What happened to nice or not at all? Like, come on, dude, all you had to do was just not say anything. Instead, of saying things that are mean to people. Hopefully, this is one of those things where your future actions or your actions going forward with this will help fix things between you and your girlfriend's friends. But that's very much something that you're going to have to work on, and it's going to be a process. You can't just snap your fingers and expect things to be all hunky-dory okay and everything. Am I the a-hole for accidentally flooding my school and blaming it on the, weird kid? Yeah, you know, because some people for some reason still have to ask even after doing all that stuff. Before I get into this, I am writing from a throwaway account to stay anonymous. Oh, no doy. That's the one smart decision you've made today. Please don't try to figure out before who I am. I, 13M, have a reputation as a bit of a troublemaker at my school. Our school doesn't have security cameras, which I've always taken advantage of. Without cameras, there's hardly any evidence of pranks. And, though I've been caught a few times, they were minor stunts and light consequences. This time, though, I might have gone a bit too far. I get most of my prank ideas from social media. Okay, that is a horrible idea already. And normally, I don't take things too far. But recently, I saw a TikTok clip of someone flooding their school's bathroom. They stupidly explained how they did it, and I couldn't resist trying it myself. I won't share the method here because I don't want anyone copying me. Now, let me tell you about Oscar, 13M, the weird kid at school. Oscar has some mental health issues like schizophrenia, probably autism, anger problems, and is all around annoying. He's had multiple incidents over the years: fights, throwing chairs, breaking glasses, and trying to stab people with pencils and scissors when angry. My friends and I have been fed up with him for a while. While they wanted to jump in, I came up with a different plan to get him in trouble. The plan was simple. During the last period before Christmas break, I'd flood the bathroom and make it look like Oscar did it. My friends would fake a photo to use as proof. On the day, everything went smoothly at first. I was in the restroom flooding the toilet while Oscar was nearby. My friend gave the signal that the hallway was clear, but the water spread way faster than I expected. I ran back to class, pretending not to know what was happening. Soon, the principal announced an evacuation. Water was everywhere, about 3 inches deep. Outside, the principal pulled me, my friend, and Oscar aside. He said that we were the only ones seen in the hallway around the time that the flood had started. He also knew that it was intentional because the janitor found that the toilets had been tampered with. My friend and I stuck to the story and showed the fake photo. I even claimed that I saw Oscar go into the bathroom. Oscar's attempts to explain didn't work, and he got a week's suspension after break and a month of after-school detention. Meanwhile, I walked away with no punishment. So, am I the a-hole for flooding the school and blaming the weird kid who probably deserved it anyway? Yeah, because that's not mature at all. You're acting like a freaking child. And still, you gotta have the nerve to ask on the internet to people on Reddit, what I actually did, was that bad? Yeah, no dip. You caused a lot of property damage, and I can guarantee you if the school has sent the bill your parents' way, then I'm fairly certain that you would not be hearing the end of it at all. So, yeah, great job on, destroying property. Great job. Yeah, the kid who happens to have an anger problem. Yeah, no, they might have. Yeah, and you totally deserve it. Great job, Skippy. Am I the a-hole for declining to be the godfather to my niece? Some immediate context. My wife and sister haven't gotten along the last few years. They barely talk to each other. And needless to say, it's been difficult managing the interfamilial relationships. My sister and I both have godparents, which are husband and wife, as do my wife and brother-in-law, as is typical in our area. And the expectation/tradition is that the godparents would raise the children should anything happen to my parents. Though, with most traditions like this, it has become a little more symbolic as of late. Anyways, fast forward to Christmas of this year. Everyone's handing out presents, which, in my family, everyone opens them up at the same time, so it's a frenzy. Eventually, at the end of this frenzy, my sister and brother-in-law hand me one last gift, which they wanted everyone to be around / attentive for the starting recording with their phone cameras. Surely enough, I was blessed to be asking to be the father to my recently born niece. But it was quite clear that the lack of godmother gift as well. My wife wasn't also asked to be the godmother. So, when I asked who it was going to be, she said that she intended on asking her best friend because she helped her a lot during her pregnancy. I responded in saying that, well, I am married, and it simply wouldn't be fair to my wife should anything actually happen. This goes back and forth for some time, and eventually, I just say that I will need to think about it. I did genuinely think on this for some time, and obviously my wife was clearly disappointed in not also being asked despite their tumultuous relationship, as it felt pretty clearly snubbed by my sister to my wife in their decision to not also ask her to be the godmother. That said, I also personally didn't feel comfortable being the godfather to my niece while my wife wasn't, as it didn't feel right. Whether that be because of my wife not being included, or simply familial tradition, truthfully, I also felt that it was pretty divisive by my sister and brother-in-law, and intentionally exclusionary to my wife, as my sister is also my sibling. Come New Year's Day, a week later, I took my sister and brother-in-law aside and politely declined and stated that, while I am honored, I simply didn't feel comfortable accepting. Now, I'm dealing with the fallout. Am I the a-hole? This is definitely some weird hill to die on for you wanting to make sure that your significant other is the godmother to their family's kids, instead of, in a lot of cases where it would be just somebody in the family. Godparents don't have to actually be husband and wife, or there's really nothing wrong with him declining or anything, but I think it's just more so the reasoning and that he's upset that his wife isn't the godmother that kind of puts him in the I'm the devil kind of light. Need advice and perspective on a relationship with me, 43M, and my ex-wife, 31F, with 3 kids that are not mine. Here's one Reddit. I need all the perspective and help that I can get on this. I am sorry, I am writing this hungover as F, since I drank to turn my brain off last night due to the situation below, with the excuse of celebrating New Year's. I am 43 years old, professional, previously divorced, no kids, but want a family of my own. Helen and I met in January of 2023 on Tinder. I was 41, and she was 29 at the time. She was a nice, very attractive woman. She had 3 kids. 10, 8, and 1. At the time, and her ex-husband, the father of the 1-year-old, had left her. The other 2 kids were from 2 different fathers. She had a high school education and came from a very poor family. She lived just over an hour from me in a tiny old farmhouse with her 3 kids. Even though she was young, had kids, and wasn't what I was looking for, we decided to go out due to how much fun we had talking with each other. We called it a fake date. We had an unexpectedly great time. We went out again, and soon we were in a relationship. It was great. We always had the best times, and always had each other laughing. The absolute best time I had ever had with this woman in my life. She was truly my best friend. The realization that a more serious relationship involved being a part of her children's lives scared the shit out of me. So in July, right before her birthday, we split. I knew we were getting serious, and I also knew I did not know how to handle 3 kids, especially 3 from 3 different dads. We stayed in touch, and after I had a bad 3-month relationship with another woman, and Helen and I reconciled in December of 2023, It was immediately like old times. She had decided to start nursing school and had quit her job that she had been at for years, and done well at it to prepare to enroll. Nursing school would take 3 years, and we realized that that would mean 3 years of driving over an hour to see each other. We didn't like that and began to discuss ways to close the gap. We discussed her moving closer to me and enrolling in a school that's 10 minutes away from nursing. The talk soon came to buying a house that can accommodate us all, me supporting her and her kids so that she could focus on school, and eventually decided to cover her and the kids on my health insurance. We would get married. That was the plan, and that made sense at the time. I bought 5 acres of land and built a 5,000 square foot house for us all to live in, and Helen sold her house. April 13th was the first day that I had taken her 2 oldest children out to spend time with them. I had a terrible time. They were being annoying, embarrassing, and kept asking me to buy them different stuff. Granted, I have no idea how to deal with or control children, so that made it worse. We married at the courthouse on April 19th of 2024. Immediately after the wedding, the realization that I was a stepfather set in and destroyed me. I was freaking out. I didn't like the kids, and I even resented them. We were going to live in the same house together, and I didn't want to be near them. Plus the thought of what it would do to the children to live with a guy that resented them. I tried talking about my feelings and fears with Helen, and she said that it would be better over time. I thought, what if it gets worse? I better end this before it goes and gets even worse, and those kids are damaged. 3 weeks after the wedding, I filed for divorce. The divorce was finalized in September. There was no communication between us after filing for divorce. Helen rightfully hated my guts. She had given up her house, moved her children away to a city and away from her family's support, and enrolled in an expensive school to be with me, and I bailed on her 3 weeks after the wedding. In early November, we ran into each other when we were both out on dates. My heart stopped when I saw her. It wasn't that she was with another guy. The only thought I had was I was out on a mediocre date with a woman when I could and should be sitting next to Helen laughing and having a great time. I emailed her a few days later, and her response was very cold. And after a few more emails and rebuffs from Helen, I told her that I would leave her alone, and did. On December 7th, out of the blue, while I was driving to a nephew's birthday party, I received an email from Helen asking me to have a drink with her at a local bar. I made up an excuse to leave the birthday party shortly after I arrived to go see Helen. The drink was awkward, and she did all that she could to give me the cold shoulder. After we finished our drinks, I walked her to her car, where she bursted into tears, talking about how she would have done anything to make it work, and how much she missed me. We ended up going to her house, having a long talk with lots of mutual crying, and sleeping together that night. Since then, we've slept together 2 more times. She says that she is fine with no commitment and just being in a gray area, since all she wants is to be able to see me. I am not fine with that. I adore her, I miss her, and have missed her constantly. Every time I get to see her, I am overwhelmed with joy and wish that I didn't have to leave her side. But those kids, I don't like them. I don't want to be their stepdad. That and the endless slights from their friends and family that cannot believe that I would date a woman with 3 kids from 3 different dads and comes from such a trashy upbringing. I love her, I do. I would pick her over any woman on this planet to be next to. But I can't get past the kids and the embarrassment that I feel with being with her. I am fully aware that I am a freaking a-hole for being embarrassed to be with this woman. But it is difficult hearing the comments from the important people in my life about this trashy woman with 3 kids from 3 different dads. I've gone out with many women since the divorce from Helen, but always think, they're nice, but they're not Helen. So, what do? Is there any way that I can learn to accept and love her kids? How can I work past the shame of wanting to be with her and be proud of it? Do I just leave her alone and say that this is one of those times that love isn't enough? I need help, please. Yeah, I don't really think this is one of those scenarios where you're going to be able to say, oh yeah, no, I'd love to date you, just as long as the kids aren't in the picture. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly with you at all. Yeah, that's not gonna work, my man. But with that, that is going to have to be it with the video. If you guys would love to be absolutely amazing, show your support, and see more videos like this one in the near future, be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment down below to start up them wholesome internet discussions, and if you guys have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on them notifications. And I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye!